Well, hi, I'm John Hart, and welcome back to Mr. America Hart. So today I have a fun one for you. I had a friend of mine who knew that I had given away my BFR bands to a person who needed them, was rehabbing. So I gave them away. I have not used them in a very long time. And so today I wanted to go ahead and show you a good arm and calf workout that I'm going to do with the BFR bands. So these are my thigh bands. They go on the upper thighs. So when you do your calf training with BFR bands, that's blood flow restriction, you do not put them below the knee. They don't go there. They go on the upper thigh, and they restrict the blood flow from coming back from the calves to the heart. So you can refer to some of my older videos on blood flow restriction training. I'll even put some links down below that you can check them out, but we're going to get straight to it today. And then the other one is these are not my normal arm bands, BFR bands that I would use, but they seem interesting. They're a little bit thinner than I would normally use. This is about a 1-inch width, and normally they go with 2-inch width. But these are kind of interesting because they have a scale on them, so it's a little bit easier to gauge how tight to put them and match them side to side. So it's going to be a really interesting workout. So let's see how it goes. I'll just be doing a voiceover through this entire workout. You don't want to hear all the background noise that goes on in here. So that's about it. I'll see you in a few. Get ready, get set. Here we go.
In the BFR arm workout, I'm supersetting dumbbell preacher curls with lying down tricep extensions, or as many of you know them to be called skull crushers. And the format of the BFR workout, as originally done in the studies with blood flow restriction training, is doing a set of 30 repetitions and then resting about a minute, and then doing 3 sets of 15 repetitions with using 20% of your normal weight. Today, I'm supersetting those dumbbell preacher curls with the lying down tricep extensions. So this is my first set of 30 with just 12-pound dumbbells in each hand. And by the end of that, when you go ahead and you superset the dumbbell curl with the tricep extension, that heart rate is already starting to move up. That's the fascinating thing about using BFR bands, is that your heart rate actually jumps up, and you kind of feel as if you're not doing a lot of work, but your body knows what's going on, and that blood's being a little bit restricted from coming back to the heart. So it's creating a hard-working environment. So there I go onto the tricep extensions, and you'll see I'll knock out 30 reps with that. The weights at this point are feeling pretty light. I'm not going to go and run through every single cycle of these exercises because it's really lengthy as far as the number of times you have to go back and forth. I'm going to show you these first 4 supersets as I'm talking about it, and I'll also describe how the rest of them go, and then I'll just jump right into the actual video of what it looked like at the end on that last superset. So the way it works is you're going to do 4 full cycles of these supersets. Each cycle consists of 4 sets. So it's a grand total of 16 sets using these weights, and you're going to run back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, doing 30 repetitions and then 3 sets of 15. And that's 1 cycle. And then I rest about a minute. I unhook the bands from my arms. At that point, the blood is already pumping, but I unhook them just briefly for about 30 seconds. I put them right back on, and then I go for 3 more cycles of 30 repetitions, and then 15, 15, and 15. And when I run through this, by the time I get around to that 4th full cycle, it's really questionable whether or not I'm going to complete any of the sets, the 30 or any of the 15s. And as you'll see, they get a little bit more difficult with every single round. At this point, this is just the second round of 15. The heart rate's already moving up, and it's getting to the point where I can really feel the muscles, a little bit of lactic acid already building up. And it's just the first cycle, so you know there's more coming after that. Oh, as well, I should mention that the bands, If you're not using actual Kaatsu bands, Kaatsu, Kaatsu was the original bands that were used, and they have blood pressure cuffs being used on those. If you're not using the original bands and you're using bands like I am right here, which is what most of the people do who use these, you're supposed to put them on to a tension level of a 7 out of 10, approximately a 7 out of 10. 10 being, man, you feel like the blood is being completely cut off and it's just way too tight. 7, you know something's on your arm. Okay, let's put it that way. And it's just supposed to cut off the blood on the surface, not deep down. You're not supposed to be cutting off arterial blood flow. That's really, really important. So as I'm running through this third cycle, I reach back, tricep extensions, here I go, another set of 15. I'm not worrying about the speed that I'm doing them with. The weight's pretty light feeling. It doesn't feel like I'm going to injure myself at all, so I'm just going and letting the muscle do the work. So here it goes. Another notable thing is that when we do the leg exercises, which will be later on in the workout, I'm going to do my calf work at the end, the bands are much thicker. These are little 1-inch bands around my upper arm, but the leg ones are 3 inches wide, and they cover a larger square area, cutting off a little bit more blood flow. When I do show you the final cycle of doing these preacher curls, you're going to notice I changed the grip. And I'm just more comfortable using a hammer grip when I do preacher curls with dumbbells. And I realized that once I started going and the biceps started failing, and I realized, wow, I should have just went with the hammer grip. So I went and I changed it right around the second full cycle of these. So when we jump to the final cycle of these 2 exercises, it's just my last set of 15. I'm really, really pushing it at that point. And the blood's flowing and my arms are pumped, and they're hardly even functioning at that point because they're so pumped and tight. The weight, I'm relying on the weight at that point to push the muscles into a stretch position. But here I am, just about to wrap up this 4th cycle. The triceps are already feeling it. The 4th set, I should say, of this first cycle. Triceps are feeling it, and there I go. And we'll just jump right now. And here we go with the 4th set of the 4th cycle. And I decided to leave on a little bit of that background noise so that you can hear how I'm really literally gasping for air at this point. My arms are fully pumped. The bands have done the job. And the muscles are contracting in an environment where it's as if I was lifting the heaviest weight possible. It feels that way to the biceps, to the forearms at this point. And I'm really pushing that last 15th rep right there. And so I'm actually panting as I'm gasping for air as I go on over to the tricep extension. And I'm really going to have to rely on the weight of the bar to pull my triceps down and stretch my arm out, because they just don't want to go at that point. So I'm fighting. I'm not even fighting on the negative. The triceps are just doing what they do. And so the same thing happens at the end of this set, where I'm really, really digging deep. The muscles are firing as hard as they can with what they think is a really big weight, but it's really not a big weight. And so as I'm squeezing the tricep, I get up here on number 14 and 15, and it really comes close to where I'm not even sure I'm going to get the last repetition, but I squeeze it out anyway, right here, and sitting up with them. And I just can't wait to get those bands off my arms at that point. They just seem irritating. I hadn't been wearing them for the last, 10 or 15 minutes off and on. I just want to just take them off and be done with it. The arms are fully pumped though, and the muscles are barely functioning correctly. But that's the result of using the BFR bands. And that's the purpose of them, is to just restrict the venous blood flow back to the heart. So the muscles are convinced they're working in a very, very hard environment and have to increase their muscle mass. And there we go. On to calves. Now with the original Kaatsu On the leg workouts, they did half as much overall work, and they would do only 2 full cycles. But the same thing, same format of these sets occurred, where you would do a set of 30 and then 3 sets of 15 with about 20% of the weight you would normally use. Now, I'm really strong on my calves, and so my son here, Gabriel, y'all remember him from some of my old videos. Little Gabriel, he's not little anymore. He's a full-grown man, and he weighs just under 200 pounds. Probably 180, I should say. 180, not under 200. 180, which is a lot more than 20%. So I'm using more weight than I would normally use on a Kaatsu or on a BFR calf workout. And those bands have already been tightened up on my upper thigh. And I'm knocking out 30 reps right here. This is the final 4 sets in the second cycle. I bypassed showing you the first cycle because it was pretty uneventful. You know, the calves got pumped. So I wanted to show you the one where there's a decent amount of work being done, and my effort was pretty great. As a matter of fact, that was the first set of 30 right there. I could not even do it because the blood flow is being restricted from my calves, or from coming out of my calves. And so I'm really feeling these. Normally when he's sitting up on my back, I could do 35 to 50 straight reps without batting an eyelash. And here it is. It's hard enough for me even to get 25 because those calves are being cut off, the blood flow. So here I go. That's the end of the first set of 30 repetitions on the second cycle, the final cycle. And I'm just shaking them out. I have those bands on my upper thigh, and I'm just wishing they were off because I could really feel these in my calves. So I'm looking at a little clock, by the way, that's over in the corner up against that water heater. So I'm checking the time constantly. And it got to the point where these calves were so uncomfortable with that pump, and I went ahead and I just decided stop. I'm not going to go a full minute. I'm going 45 seconds. So I did these with 45 seconds between every set. So it became even harder to do, but I just wanted to get it over with, not caring about whether it was harder to do. So here we go with a set of 15. And I have Gabriel sitting way back on my hips. These donkey calf raises, for all of y'all who don't know, I've done videos on the best calf exercise in the world, and that would be this one right here. You can go ahead and check out the link in the video description below. And I want to also remind you, before you end up going today, if you don't mind, let's make it a point to go ahead and hit the like button, the thumbs up button on your bottom left-hand side. Hit that like button and turn it blue. It helps with the YouTube algorithm. And then also the subscribe button will pop up in the upper right of this screen as I get near the end of the video in the last 20 seconds. That subscribe button, give that thing a tap, won't you? And just let YouTube know you're liking my videos. Helps out a lot. Okay, back to the workout. Here I am. I'm shaking those calves out, getting into that second set of 15 now, and whew, they are feeling it. I am just uncomfortable. I'm telling Gabriel, just get back on. Don't be monkey barring around up there as he's over there swinging, doing everything he can to have some fun in between these sets. He's still a little kid. And here we go. 15 reps. You'll see it's difficult enough near the end right here to even get 15 reps. Really challenged. My calves cannot tell the difference right here, whether I have an additional 400 pounds wrapped around my waist, hanging down there, plus Gabriel, or if it's just Gabriel himself. And shoot, they're taking that hit right now. They're fully pumped. My feet are not wanting to function either. It's kind of funny watching myself do this, but I can remember how it was uncomfortable. The blood backing up in those calves. Some people enjoy it. I'm not one of those people. I use it just simply as a technique to break up the regular training, and I will end up at times going with about 4 weeks worth of it. using BFR training. It's supposed to have a lot to do with hypertrophy, muscle growth, so that's what I'm after. So here we go. This is it. And I'm just going to let you listen.